Just gonna hit the go live button. Yeah. So don't worry, we'll make some adjustments, once we get going here.
What's this bump? Okay.
It's bump, it's bump, it's bump, it's in your hair.
So are you talking about the adjustments we're going to make to the light because I look like I am floating in a white cloud?
Yeah. We have got a
How do you
new
look
light bulb.
the same every time? Like, perfect.
It's freaking camera, that's why. That's why I wanted to get your thing camera.
Move this
on there.
closer to you so it's further away from me.
Oh yeah. That was what was going to happen next. I just wanted to explain. We got a new light bulb, so that's why the light of God is shining on Jesse. We're going to try to move things around, see while we're streaming if we can get in a good spot. Obviously, this spot too bright on Jesse, so we're going to pull this back. I mean, it had to be up close because it wasn't as bright before, right?
Waiting for YouTube to catch up with this moment. And then the other experiment will be to put it on the other side of you.
Yeah. I also want to just take a look at what this looks like.
What if we put it... No, wait. The plug won't reach.
Okay, that's if it's off. So it's just bright out today.
Well, I mean, that is true. We've got the windows open, and I don't think we're going to close them because it really feels good to have fresh air.
That's definitely more even. I think you look good.
It doesn't count. You always think I look good.
But yeah, I can move this thing a little bit more. Oh, no, then it's in frame. We don't want that. We don't want that.
Yeah. Like, we need one of those, the moon-shaped tables that could create circles in classroom?
Oh, yeah.
With the teacher in the middle?
Yeah.
We need one of those and then just put the light right in the middle.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
We just stream from Meridian School.
Well, then we would have any setup. And we would also have those little balancy chairs. Those little, they are stools, but not. And you have to balance on them.
Yeah. All right. By the
More
way,
like an open windows.
I wanted to see if we've been getting any feedback here. But I do like how you're more even. I do like that. So
I mean, it's good and it's doing its job and it's like a really flippin' bright light in terms of overall thing. So it's just, during months like this where we can actually have the window open, we definitely don't want to close the blinds. I think this is just going to be what it is.
If we close the blinds with the window open, we could have that sound.
No.
I think that would be a real treat for our viewers and listeners.
That would not be a treat for me, David. That would take all of my attention over here.
Yeah. By the way, I was just 1 second. I was chatting with Luke, so we're streaming now, so hopefully you're watching us. But you know what? Understood and respect if you're not. Okay, so welcome officially to LangTime Studio, a spin-off of the preeminent streaming show Let's Have a Booba. Streams every Tuesday from 1:30 to 3 Pacific. Very happy to be a part of the extended Boobaverse.
Indeed. Sorry, I was...
No, I totally agree, George. And I tried to do some stuff, but it just wasn't super successful.
What are you trying to do?
Well, I was trying to mess with some of the... There are presets and but you know what? Filters. Here we go.
Okay, so as you're looking at that on Discord, one of our patrons had commented that, you know, like, even when I think my accent is normal, I'll say a word and people will be like, "What?" And that happened just yesterday. What word did I say? And your mom was like, "Oh my God, is that the Missouri accent?"
Goal.
Goal. Yes, I was trying to tell her to watch the movie Next Goal Wins, and I said it like 3 times, and she kept looking at me like, I just don't know what you're saying. And then when she saw the title of the movie, she went, "Oh." And so that was the first time she had noticed that I have any sort of accent. And it was kind of funny. It made me laugh. Oh, whoa. What's happening over there? I'm just now seeing all the dark, bright.
Do you now, if once it stops moving, do you like it?
How can we verify? Can you like snap your finger or something so I can look for that clue so I know I've reached the moment? Oh my God, that was like the slowest response ever. So now I gotta wait. I think it's pretty steady. Yeah, this looks, I think, pretty good.
Yeah.
Waiting. There's the snap that you waited for 20 seconds to give me as verification, so I knew I was caught up.
See, I think that's a little better. I think that's a little better.
I think so.
But yeah, I often forget that there's this filter thing there, and I can mess with it. The thing that I would love to do is to just give you the warm and beautiful tone and texture that I have in my video. I look extremely beautiful. And I would love that for you with your video.
I will say there's a bit of a halo in the side of your frame. Not on you.
Well,
you look perfect. But yeah, why don't,
yeah.
now that you're messing with filters, you can move the light a little bit away from you so you don't get the halo on your screen. Again, you still look great, but
yeah,
it's
I like to.
very unfair. Indeed, Carl, David is always beautiful.
I'd like to think that I make my ancestors proud, because the only thing that we really care about is looks.
Yeah. All ancestors ever.
Yeah, I think that's one of the factors in my family, at least on my mother's side of the family, that I think goes to all of us. In our own way, all of us care very, very deeply about how we look. Vanity is a trait that runs through the entire line.
That's the problem with having a beautiful family.
Yeah.
You start caring about it.
I know. Well, that's the other thing. We all look the same, and it's like you wouldn't know this unless you see like 4 or 5 of my family members, but we all look the same. We all very strong genetic resemblance. Apple thinks that me and my sister are the same person.
Yeah.
They're like. It's like the Pam meme, you know. Corporate wants you to find the difference between these 2 pictures, totally different pictures of me and my sister, and Apple saying it's the same picture.
Yeah. Happens a lot.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So let us jump to the poll.
Ooh, Jake is here. So yes, indeed, we can start the good stuff now.
The Jake?
The Jake.
All right.
Jonathan says their phone thinks they're 2 different people. Is there like a timeline where it's like before now
Nope,
you were this
too
person,
much.
after
Too
now
much.
we're going to tag you as someone else? Is it like a hairstyle difference, or is it legit like
There we go.
Yesterday's picture is tagged as this person, today's picture is tagged as someone else? I'm so curious now, Jonathan. The full beard. Jonathan had a full beard for a few years. Jonathan. I need to see a picture. It's so funny whenever like people mention like they have facial hair or a completely different hairstyle, and sometimes my brain just goes, I cannot compute. Like I can't, like I'm trying to mix and match pictures here and be like, put beard on. Not working.
By the way, I got your album title. So it's a black and white picture of you with a beard, and it's tilted slightly, and it's like a black and white Polaroid, and it's like being burned slowly from the bottom, and the album is yesterday's picture. There you go. That's your album. Okay.
Danielle. Oh man.
All right, let's talk pole. So there is an uncomfortable moment in the life of every conlang that is avoided with a very strong like Polynesian phonotactics. In other words, you say, you know what? No codas, no consonant clusters, no problems. And that's it. You just go on from there. If you allow for either codas or consonant clusters, at some point you have to ask yourself the question, what happens if this consonant comes next to this consonant? And if you have a lot of consonants and allow for a lot of codas, let's say, that's a lot of questions you have to answer. And we neatly avoided that with Hauhoff. I think successfully avoided it with Hauhoff. No inflection, so the only time that it's an issue is with compounds. And with compounds, there can be a little bit more leniency, you know. We decided to have inflection in the Fox language, and so suddenly, as we're trying to do our, subject agreement, we're seeing like, oh, well, then this consonant would come next to this. I was like, oh, but what about this one? Oh, but what about this one? And then what about if we do other inflection? We're going to have to open things up. And so that is indeed what we have begun to do. We've begun to open things up to look at what happens when every single consonant comes next to every single other stinking consonant.
We'll say David is being very kind here using we. I was the one who was like, I'm ready to smash some things together in this language to make it lightly inflectional. I never had a plan of making it crazy inflectional, just lightly. Mm-hmm. And David was a little surprised, but went with it, and now is using we to cover up the fact that this is my mass.
By the way, 100% Matisse, much better name than McCain and L. Just saying. Anyway, we took a radical step in saying this was definitely influenced by Let's Have a Booba, I want to mention, because of course in the Let's Have a Booba stream they have polls as well, and they frequently make a point of saying at the beginning that it's a non-binding poll.
Probably because neither of them wants to eat an onion on screen.
I mean, neither of them probably wants to eat an onion ever, and I would understand that. Why would anybody eat an onion? But anyway, we decided to take the radical step of saying that this was a non-binding poll. Part of the reason that we said that is you never know if you miss consonant clusters, especially with so many consonants. And so if you go a particular route and then it's like you discover, oh, wait, we didn't think about this one. Actually, this doesn't work. We want to do something different. We wanted to leave ourselves some wiggle room. All right?
So it's non-binding in the sense that we may not have thought through all the combinations yet, and we may need to save some space for that.
Diet Matisse, another better Twitch name than McCain and L. Say, Diet Matisse. Oh, that would be incredible. But that also, I love the implication. You're watching Matisse and it's like, wow, this is something. Matisse is like, this isn't even the full Matisse. This is Diet Matisse. Anyway, so yeah, we came up with 3 possibilities. And I started to do only some of these. Then I ended up doing all of them. And even then, it's not like all of them. Anyway, it's just a whole thing. It's a whole thing. We already have existing sound changes that cause some changes. And this is how, like, for example, if you saw this one and, like, original TB cluster becomes a ZB cluster, like, how did that happen? It's the sound changes we already have built in.
Look at CJ's comment quickly.
Okay. Just a taste. Oh, wow. Man. we're coming up with awesome names left and right. Ah, so my taste, and then of course there's like the not the kind of like parody channel that is the Matisse impersonator, and that is a Matribute.
Oh man. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, the mess that I created because I told you I wanted to make inflections.
So we have problems in that we have 3 different types of stops. We have the aspirated stops, and then we have the pharyngealized stops, and then we have the labialized stops. And so even doing like a stop nasal cluster is a bit of a misnomer. We have to figure out what's going to happen. But anyway, with option A, we were going to do as little as possible. So obviously the sound changes that we already have caused some changes. Otherwise, it really is just voicing assimilation. We had it happen with fricatives as well. So even though like ahma is perfectly plausible, we're going to change it to ahma. We didn't have it happen with approximants though. So fra would stay fra. But yeah, otherwise, and we didn't have it nasal stop sequences. So, but we did have epenthesis. So kind of like the dreamt epenthesis. We had that epenthesis to preserve the quality of stops, of hetero-organic stops. So rather than an MT becoming NT, let's do the MTA. Rather than MTA becoming MTA with an N, we preserve the M, we preserve the Ta, and then we insert a P to keep it all copacetic. Copicocetic. All right. So that was one option. The next option, we painted slightly aggressiver. And so with this one, we have the voicing assimilation. We have weak fricatives collapse, giving us something akin to Finnish. So in Finnish, KT clusters, KD clusters become HD clusters. And so we have something like, kahta would become kahta, kafda would become kahda, and even kavka would become kahka, like that. We allow for gemination, and we have frequent gemination, you'll see, and we are okay with the geminates. So heteroorganic stop clusters would just become geminates, unless one of them has already become a fricative for some reason, which happens in the language for reasons. Let's see, what else have we got here? Even with the chma, so ahma kind of becomes amma. Rather than ahma, it becomes amma. Nice geminate. We get the hra and hla in there. These are sequences. We do have nasal assimilation, so we get the introduction of n for upanism. And then we have some funkier things like nkfa and nkf. Oh, nkfa. So we have unkfa versus unkfa. That's interesting, isn't it? Unkfa versus unkfa.
It is interesting.
Very interesting. We'll think about that. Anyway, and then, ML becomes not gonna lie, and so on. Anyway, right on down the line. And we have these geminate approximants. That's supposed to be a geminate tap, not a tap followed by a trill. It's giving me flashbacks to like conlangs where you see like the trill and the flap are both phonemes, and you can have anything as a coda, and so you actually can have, ardra versus arra versus arra versus arra. Anyway, all right. So that was B.
Not gonna lie.
That was B. C was going to take it further by getting rid of geminates. Geminates simplify to singletons. And yeah, I think that's about it. Anyway, it might be something that you would find attractive if you wanted to simplify inflection. So those were the options. The vote went out. The vote was close, but there was a very clear first, second, third. In last place, but with a good number of votes, was the minimal solution. So they wanted some change.
Gotcha.
And then B and C were kind of duking it out. They were very close, but ultimately the winner was B. So,
okay.
Geminate full. So.
By the way, Miles is on the way to LCC 11? Is this 11?
I think so.
I keep losing track of numbers. But Miles is on the way there.
Oh, Bubba, you shouldn't have corrected it. West Vit would be an awesome nickname for West Virginia.
Well, it's obviously Westford. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not sure, like, here, I'm going to pull up Lexergy just to get it ready. Like that?
What is that?
That is either a power sander. This could be a fun new addition to LangTime Studio. What's that power tool? All right, there we go.
Okay, so David,
Yeah.
I know it's a little early, but like very snacky. I think we should celebrate this poll.
Poll successfully concluded.
And David successfully reported the results. I just was grabbing out lots of Kopiko, I see. I'm just feeling for a little snack.
Cheers, partner.
Cheers. Hey, Kay.
RK?
RK. I also vote for celebrating. This is a good Thursday.
Kopiko brought to you by the letter K, represented by our friend K. Here's to you, K.
The best K in the world.
Well, hello, Billy.
Jonathan, I think most people would not consider candy a snack outside of people like me who get a bit of a rush from all the sugar in the candy and therefore consider it a snack because it's like my body is like, woo! Anyway.
And why, Jake? Because Jake ate naan.
Knan?
Even better. Snacks can't be treats.
It's not a snack because it's a treat. It's not a dessert because it's a cake. Was that the way it went on Great British Bake Off?
Paul Hollywood. Less like a cake, more a dessert. That wasn't a very good one. Every so often I can do a good Paul Hollywood.
But it was very confusing to
Takes
us because
a lot
we're
of
like, isn't a cake a dessert? Oh no, Jake is saying it. Yes, they are different. My oh my. Alright, so David, what are we doing with this information from the poll? Like, are we actually trying to create our first little suffix here? That was me.
So,
what's happening? What are we doing?
let me Let me write some things down here. What might do is putting some of these sequences into Lexergy and seeing which ones don't do what we need them to do already.
It is a good philosophy. If you just keep eating all day, everything is a little snack. That's all it is. Having a snack.
It's all problem-free philosophy.
Hakuna Masnaka.
All right, so like...
Oh, you're not showing Lexergy, so if you wanted people to see the results.
I guess I could. So for example, right now, a sequence of... We end up with sequences of a voice stop next to a heteroganic voice stop. If that ever happens, we want to turn the first one into a copy of the second.
Okay, so I need to repeat what I think I just heard. We need to create geminate consonants when two stops follow each other, like stop, stop, and it's going to geminate with the second consonant.
Yes.
Okay, and it's always going to happen?
Yeah.
Stop, stop, geminate, second.
Yeah.
Okay, now I need to remember that little trick that, like, I think Miles was the one who taught me. Or somebody else. I think several of you commented. Where it's like you use, I think, the number 1.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta find it. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Of a copy val, $1.
Here's Jake with more British nonsense. Cake can be a dessert if it's served at the end of a meal, but it's not always a dessert. Like, say, tiramisu or flan or crumble. And I think that Jake is asserting that tiramisu, flan, and crumble are not desserts.
No, I think tiramisu and crumble are always desserts. Cake has to be served at the end of a meal to be called a dessert in Jake's English. I thought that's what was being said.
No. Okay, apparently Karis has agreed with your summation, which I still disagree with. Dessert is a sweet thing, period. Afters is a kick-ass ice cream place here in Southern California. Afters started with the same business model as raves, where you don't know when and where they're going to be. You have to, like, know somebody who knows. And they would pop up and they would just serve ice cream, and there would be, like, you know, club music, usually outdoors, from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And so it was the type of thing where it's like, you know, a friend of mine, usually John, would say, hey, there's going to be, you know, Afters is going to be at this location tonight. And we'd head over there. Now they have permanent locations. Still good stuff.
Can you check the forms now?
Oh no! Boom! Step 1 done. And by the way, you're adding
Whipped
this to
cream?
the end, right? Yeah, you are adding it to the end. What?
Oh my gosh, Kay, you're right. Blake and I were going to start the Midnight Munchies cupcake shop. Oh man, we were going to like rock that business.
Oh, there was this place here called Midnight Munchies. It was in 2007 or 8, and it was localized in Huntington Beach. Mm-hmm. And they basically just sold stuff snacky stuff that like you could buy at Costco, but late. So from like 10 p.m. to like 2 a.m., maybe even 4 a.m. And they just kind of like, there was a way you could order it online, and they just drove around in a van and gave it to you. It didn't last, but that was cool.
You were thinking food truck that could like travel to key locations late at night. And Blake would not only do the business side of it, but also be, you know, the security side of it. Driving around late at night. Gotta be safe.
And the name of it could be Supcake. Apostrophe S-U-P, Supcake. Okay.
Okay, so...
Step 1 of the Grandmaster Plan is done. All right.
Hooray.
Now, step 2. Can you broaden the definition of stop so that if a nasal stop follows another stop, it does the same thing?
Well, follows this time. Okay, so...
It's the same thing. So, like, if a K comes next to a B, it turns into a BB. If a K comes next to an M, it turns into an MM.
But if an N is followed by a K, it does not go nka.
Correct. So never mind.
Uka. So it's... No, but, like, I can do that. I just need to know which side to specify it on. And what it sounds like is a stop becomes a nasal when a nasal follows it.
Yes.
But
yeah.
a nasal does not become a stop when a stop follows it.
Correct. So yeah,
Okay.
That's the much better approach.
And babe, I'm just about to change the rules, so you're going to lose things in Lexergy again. But then I'm going to want you to test it on screen to make sure it's working.
Yeah.
Okay, I think...
Dang. Jake has me canceled. I have been canceled by Jake.
Okay, so you should test forms. It should be good.
All right. Okay, that one goes through. Yeah. Yeah.
So abma becomes amma, but amba stays amba.
Yeah. All right. Okay, good. Next step of the Grandmaster Plan is done. Okay. Next, right.
I keep looking at my mug, hoping there's more coffee for me. It's empty.
Okay, that should be done. That should already be handled. Yeah,
But Jake, you're in the right place to figure out what an intervention would mean. Someone will figure it out. Isn't that the worst, Jonathan? Like, boy, empty.
Okay, that's already handled. Next.
Danielle, yes, I do. The mug is perfect.
Okay, we have finifricativization.
Okay. That's right. CJ's breaking news comment made me laugh. I know, it's even more breaking news that she keeps checking. Like somehow it's going to be full.
Okay.
Okay, so what's this one, babe? Like what is the process that I need to figure out how to summarize in my head to write a rule?
Give me a moment to look at our proto sounds.
Sure. Jonathan, you are correct. Thankfully, my mug really is empty every time I do that. Very rarely have I been surprised by there still being coffee in it. But I don't tend to actually, turn it all the way over. I just turn it enough to look. And it's never full enough to spill at that point.
Okay, so this is where one place where I think I'm a little grateful that we have a non-binding poll, because I want to kind of ask about something. All of our proto-fricatives are weak.
Right.
All of them. And so they're all going to simplify to H before stops. We also had them geminate following nasal as opposed to turning to H in front of that nasal. I want to ask if we still want to do that. Yeah. Okay, so basically, ta? Oh. One second. Okay, that's just going to become a geminate. All right, so that's fine. Focus on one thing at a time, so let's do that. Right now, something like da becomes da.
Okay.
That needs to become da.
Okay.
So anything that is a fricative before a stop. Hang on. Oh boy.
Now, I will say, David, that I'm adding these rules to the end of Lexergy.
This
and
is well
so
done.
At this point, we do have an S,
Yeah.
an esh, and an edge.
Yeah, I know.
So, not all of them will turn to an H.
I understand.
Okay.
But I don't think that we ever have a sequence of... I don't think we ever have a sequence of S followed by a stop. Hold on.
I don't remember how we get the S.
Yes, we do.
I just know we...
Yes, we do.
Oh, wait, it's because of the aspirated T. That's right.
Okay. So now I think we're going to have to ask a question about how this is going to work. What's more of the spirit of the rule? Okay. We have our stops geminating, right? Generally. Our aspirated stops become fricatives. What is more in keeping with the spirit of the rule if a stop comes before a labialized stop or a pharyngeal stop? So the relevant... by the way, how do I zoom in? There we go.
On the screen, if you hit Command plus.
All right, so these two right here, proto at qua and at ba, right? They come out, if you just run the sound changes, as askfa and asta. What's closer to the spirit of what we're trying to do here? Killing that so that instead of the S, they become geminates, or keeping the S, or turning that S into an H. And what we're really saying is, when does this start to happen?
Do you want to put that in a poll just to see what people are thinking? I'm forming an opinion as I'm looking at it. Definitely a just getting opinions here.
As a note, I'm putting up on the screen our document. Spirantization is rule 12. So this is where all the ta becomes sa, for example. And so if these things were to become geminate stops, that means that what we're doing is happening necessarily before rule 12.
And I don't really like that, I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
I prefer these to be later because I envision these particular... I envision the grammatical shift to more inflectional later.
Okay.
As, you know, sounds have been changing, they've got their dialectal variation. If we did put in, because 12 is early in the grand scheme of things, because 7 is where we cut it off with hao. And so to do it before 12 would mean like they've only had a few sound changes and now they're starting to push elements together in new ways for their language, where I kind of see this happening not only later for some of the sound changes that, say, remove pharyngealization and some things. I think we have less to deal with the modern consonants than we would have to deal with the proto-consonants if we're going to move these rules earlier.
Okay. All right, so then this is essentially the test form right here. So this is proto at with a nice aspiration, at qua. We have two possible results. And I will write them in here. What shall, pardon me, if we can be cute, let us be cute. How do you solve a problem like our at-qua? And will that become, this is IPA, not romanization, askfa or ahfa? Because those are the two options right now. We're not considering a geminate. It's only, are we going to say we target only the weak fricatives and only the weak fricatives become H, or all fricatives become H before a stop?
And I think I've formed my opinion fully now, and okay. So we'll see if everyone agrees with me, or if
sometimes you think
I'm going to override.
Sometimes you think you formed your opinion, and then Bibloridian comes and tells you what your opinion actually is.
Well, indeed, but I've recently learned that Bibloridian and I are more in tune than you and I are on some decisions, because you were doing that font thing, and Bibloridian and I both liked the same glyph better than the other one that apparently you liked better. Bib and I won, I want to say, but...
You see me being humiliated on screen like this.
By
mine own wife.
By your known wife?
By mine own.
Mine own.
By my gnome wife.
Gnome, yes.
By the way, all of us can see what you're doing.
Yes.
You're putting on a hoodie?
Yes.
It's 74 degrees. It's perfect.
There's a breeze that feels very good, and so I'm very happy for that breeze, but it's making me get goosebumps on this arm, and I just wanted to cuddle up to feel a little bit warmer. Interesting.
All right. We're going to end the poll. The overwhelming majority, my unknown wife, it's a good band name. Overwhelming majority say keep the S.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right, there we go. All right, so now it's just the weak fricatives. Okay, so then now we know what we need to do with our sound change. We need to make the weak fricatives become an H. Oh, I'm sorry. Double poll. All right, so achta is going to become ahta, but what about that? is that going to become, again, IPA, amma, or ahma? So in other words, is ahma, is it going to become amma, like the stops, or ahma, like the fricatives?
In Bibluridian, I'm fairly certain you're thinking about what I was talking about, and yes, we did agree, and yeah. And also Kay has pegged how the house is really run with Queen Meridian supremacy.
The old QMS never fails. And indeed, both of you, by the way, you and Bibluridian, you were wrong.
I'm going to let Bibluridian handle this.
But
as our,
I did, of course,
as
acquiesce.
our CEO.
I did, of course, acquiesce.
Yeah. Okay, what was this question again? The Ahma? Oh,
yeah.
the Ahma.
In the poll that we wrote up on Patreon, we originally had these becoming Geminids. And I wanted to run this by the folks here to see what they thought.
And this is what became the Velar X?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So we're looking at Ahma in the modern form.
Yeah.
Because this happens later, so there is no uvular at this stage when the things get shoved together.
Yeah. I always write the uvular because Lexergy will not allow you to write regular X. It feels like there should be a rewrite rule in there, but yeah. Okay. Everybody likes the preservation of the fricative. Jonathan saying, "Oh, yikes, that is hot." You just witnessed Jesse, the one who's always hot, putting on a hoodie. So no, it is not hot. It's perfect. It's 74. It's gorgeous. 74 with a light breeze.
Wait, are you saying Jonathan's comment about yikes, that's hot?
Yeah.
That's because Jake commented that it was 30 degrees Celsius in the office.
Oh.
And so that's the... And 30
oh.
degrees Celsius, I think, is over 80?
86. Gosh, even I would say that's hot.
Yeah. So that's the yikes, that's hot, not our 74 situation that we have in here.
It's really hard, Jonathan, because anytime I hear anybody talking, I assume it's to me, about me, and usually in praise of me.
In my head, I heard you say embrace of me. And I was trying to figure out what EMBRAZE meant. Embrace of me.
It's like, when you braise meat, but it's from the inside.
You embrace it.
Yeah, embrace it.
Okay, so.
It makes me think of Mudbray, by the way, which is a Pokemon. Mudbray becomes Mudsdale, and it's a horse, or becomes a Clydesdale. Starts off as a little donkey, but when Meridian got this in Pokemon Shield, she was naming some of them, not all of them. She named some of them, and she named Mudbray, this little donkey-looking fella, Donkey Alert, and it's one of my favorite names that she's ever done. I love it so much. Every time I see a Mudbray or a Mudsdale, it's like Donkey Alert.
Yeah. And I will say, just for general knowledge, my preference in life is to always be able to wear a hoodie. And so anytime I'm able to wear one, I would rather it be cold inside the house so I can wear a hoodie than be warm because I don't want to just wear a t-shirt.
If you want to see what my ideal life is like,
I love my hoodies.
Watch Death in Paradise. I would prefer to wear...
David wants to live on a small island where enough murders are committed that...
I'd feel safe.
Generate.
I'd feel safe. But it's always nice. It's never too hot. It's just always nice. There's always a breeze. You're next to the ocean. Everybody is expected to be wearing shorts and loose fitting, maybe button up shirts. All of the restaurants, most of them are outdoors. That is
so many
perfect.
People are agreeing with me. And also Jonathan got a new hoodie that's lilac. That sounds like a very lovely hoodie. Okay.
Anti-hoodie culture.
Oh, yeah. New area for Mateus. New geographical area.
Okay. Kay, you sound like somebody who's never been to the Caribbean. Mm-mm.
Kay's lived in warm places.
There's a difference.
Lives in warm places.
Any place outside of Texas is better than Texas.
Okay. All right, so babe, what this comes down to is that I need to create a class of weak fricatives and say these fricatives become H before. Is it every consonant or is it just stops and nasals?
Just stops and nasals.
Okay.
I'm going to double check that, but I'm fairly confident. No, stops, nasals, and approximants.
Stops, nasals, approximants. I need to make sure that they are called approximants in here. I feel like they are approximants. Let's say one of the Lexergy files I had worked on, I needed to separate out like glides versus liquids, and so I don't have an approximate category, so I just need it. Okay, so the weak fricatives, just to verify, what we're looking at is the labial, velar, and glottal of the modern languages, because at that point they will be a phi, a beta, an X, a gamma, or an H. I guess the H is already an H. I'll put it as a weak fricative, but it's not going to change in this case.
Yeah.
Okay, go to an H when stop, nasal, approximate.
Hold on a sec.
Okay.
So received pronunciation is Caribbean, General American is Caribbean, and the alternate is Caribbean.
I go back and forth with how I say it.
I always say Caribbean. The only time I say Caribbean is Pirates of the Caribbean. But even there, I will accept Pirates of the Caribbean.
I feel like I'm opposite of you. I'm more likely to say Pirates of the Caribbean, but the Caribbean Sea. Weak fricative. Phi. Beta.
Oh, Jake, are you on a train? Like, are you on a train, like, watching and listening? Does that work? I found reception is spotty.
Fricative becomes H when it occurs before stop, nasal, approximate.
While we have a moment, there's something I want to bring to everybody's attention that I wanted to mention and recommend. Jonathan has started a YouTube channel, and I don't know if it's the one that you could go to from their username. Jonathan, you can tell me, but it's Laguna Lang, so it's not this one. But if you go to Laguna Lang's, you will see there is a video. In fact, how does a channel? Does this work? No, that doesn't work.
Logan's getting on a plane. Now's the time to do all the crazy things. Ooh, and Jonathan says a new video will be appearing this weekend.
All right, hold on a second.
And I am with everybody who has said they don't like to sweat. Agreed. That's why I prefer things to be colder, because I'd rather not sweat. If I start sweating, then I am miserable.
Oh, look, we haven't subscribed yet. I think I subscribed just with myself. You don't sweat if you're appropriately attired.
Jonathan has posted the link because, you know, access, moderator, I almost said modifier access.
It is an introduction to Stefa, and so give that a view. Also, somebody just, in our channel, somebody just posted a new video as well. Who was that? Help me out. And how can... It was octopus. Somebody with octopus in their username. But I don't remember.
And I don't remember
Rooftop Octopus has also posted a new video. Jonathan is going to hunt up the link for us. That is a sound.
Delivery cart.
There we go. Ooh, Stray Cats Jazz Night. That looks cute. Anyway, Conlang showcase, and it looks like the YouTube channel is Zeristan. Nice.
There we go. And the actual showcase, and I'm probably going to say it wrong, is for Tsoritsu. Is how I said it, and David said something similar.
All right, cool. So yeah, I wanted to be sure that we gave those a shout out when we had a chance. Okay, so...
Yay. Also, at some point for Bubba, I'm going to do the write-up of the numbers on my website in my little gnome language, because I can count now.
Let's see what happens here. Good. Good.
Oh, yeah, I updated it. Did you see?
Yeah. But Atma becomes Asma.
What happened?
Well, if TB becomes ZB, should TM become ZM? It's kind of an open question. I guess we can...
Also, well, when David switches between screens, you may notice an adorable little mouse drawing in the background, and that is by our very own Jonathan, who has the Lavunalings channel now on YouTube.
There we go.
We have some very talented people in our community.
That's right.
I love that drawing. I also love the other one, the Mouse House, which is very proudly displayed as an entire wall upstairs in our office. And there they go.
Wow. This is a wonderful sound. I hope everybody can hear it. Man, now I want watermelon.
Were you writing a poll?
I am now.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm waiting for something to happen, and I realized I was just sitting there. Danielle says it sounds like a train. Jake verifies yes, they can hear it. Now, David only ate a bite of an onion. He did not eat a whole onion, nor would I want him to. A bite was enough. So eating an entire watermelon in one gulp just sounds very dangerous and not really.
Yeah. I'm going to go even more specific, Patrick. I think it sounds like one of those six-wheeled carts you usually only find at a hardware store to translate for our non-American viewers, a DIY store. But that typically the middle two wheels are the for the closest to the ground, and so the whole thing kind of just like keeps going like this as you push it. That's what it sounds like to me.
A shopping cart is another word, CJ. I will say it is a combination of situations happening outside. Oh, nice. Outside of our window. One, the window is open, so anything going on outside the front of our unit is very audible. Two, there's the fact that we're on a concrete like surface that is like it's open space below the concrete surface, which means sound echoes. It like projects when people walk by. Like you can hear people running by in a way that it's like it sounds like much louder than it would if it were just a solid surface. So that's amplifying it as well.
So Jess, this thing is a dead heat actually.
Yeah. Also, someone look up the episode where David ate the onion. Nemo didn't know that this happened, and I feel like Nemo needs to be caught up on that. I do see it's a dead heat, and I appreciate that fact because this one I feel like I went back and forth on. However, I think I'm leaning towards the Z. If for no other reason than it reinforces the fact that we do have a Z that pops up in certain environments. Because David and I had this discussion where it's like we don't really have a Z, and we put it in the phonetic chart in the modern sounds as a green sound to indicate that like it doesn't just occur in the way that the S occurs. It only gets triggered by very specific situations where the S becomes a Z, but we could only find like 2 situations where that happened, and I feel like this would broaden that situation and would make it so it's like no, there really is a Z sound, but again it's really restricted where it would occur.
All right. Well, in that case, you will need to get into the sound changes, and I think you know how Atba becomes Asba? Wherever that happens, wherever that T is voicing or the S is voicing, make it voice in front of nasals too.
I feel like that was all voicing. That wasn't there like a wasn't there a rule in general where like consonants just became voiced? Stop fricative becomes voiced when it's followed by a stop or fricative that is voiced. Now, to verify, we only want this to happen to the S, not to the like phi. So ahma.
Theoretically, it wouldn't matter.
Because it would go to ahma.
Yeah.
It does not matter. Mm-hmm. This matters because this stays. Then S goes to Z when it occurs in front of a nasal. Just nasal, right?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. So now things are going to get ruined for you. But if you can go back in. I can also clear out some of this list if you're tired of having such a long word list that loads. I've just been leaving things in there that we've been testing.
Yeah.
But if that's annoying to you, I can definitely clear out forms. Okay. And just leave forms in there that make sense.
Atma is still becoming Asma.
Wait. That's because it hasn't become a fricative yet. There is no S when the stops and fricatives voice.
I mean...
So I'm just going to pop this at the end because it doesn't matter.
Sorry, you go ahead. You go ahead. What the heck is going on? Oh, that's how you do it.
Okay. Now try it again when you're ready, now that I've ruined things for you, I think. What's happening?
Nothing. waiting for it to go. I'm waiting for it to flip over. It hasn't done it yet.
I can, because you're not typing anything right now, right? So I can test it on my end. My end it works. You may need to get out of trace evolution, or no, you did. You did.
I have no idea what Osma Khan is.
Yeah, sometimes things just take longer.
There we are.
But I put Atma at the top, so
there we
you
go.
should be able to
Boom.
see it.
All right. I think that takes care of the fricatives. Let me just double check something. Let's ask me again. Okay, not quite. Now we need fricatives that come next to each other need to become geminates.
Always?
Yeah.
And the second consonant is the stronger one, or if there's a strong fricative followed by a weak fricative, does the strong hold sway?
Hold, please.
Mm-hmm.
I had only considered the weak fricatives because I didn't think that there would be sequences like asfa or afsa. But both of those sequences exist.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if we do those? No. No.
My personal thought is that the strident fricative would beat out the weak fricative.
Okay.
But if they're both weak fricatives, it'll be the second that picks up.
Yeah. Make it so.
Okay, I'm gonna add, and so as I do this, things are gonna get ruined. Save your word list if you want to save, because I'm about to start adding a new class.
Understood.
And typing.
And I think I'm gonna need to go up and get a charger.
That is unfortunate. I'm sorry, babe.
Like, it's okay. Well, this is a bit of a math problem, isn't it? My computer is at 48%. We are at 3:08 p.m. What will happen first? Will I run out of battery, or will I make it to the end of the stream? Theoretically, if it keeps an even pace, we should be able to make it to 4 p.m. But if it doesn't keep an even pace, it's now at 47% and it's 3:08 p.m. still. CJ has to gunt?
Yeah.
I was waiting for somebody in the comments to solve my math problem. Nobody's even ventured a guess. So I guess I will go up and get the charger.
Was it at 100% when we started?
It was.
It usually goes faster on the back half, I feel like. I feel like I have completed the necessary changes.
You have.
Yay! This is very exciting for me, that I'm really getting a much better grip on Lexergy. And so I'm very excited, and thank you to everyone who has been so kind and lovely and supportive on that journey, giving advice and whatnot.
All right. Well,
and for introducing me to the $1 thing, which I know was in the documentation. Like after you said it, like it's right there. It's just my brain never put that together as far as like how to use it. And that's such a brilliant little trick.
okay. Now then. Wait, no, not there. Here.
Actually, while you're figuring out what needs to happen next, I can run up and get the charger.
Well, that would be awful nice of you.
And then I could also get myself a little treat since I'm up and about.
Okay, we have Amhua and then Qua and also Qua, then Ha. Let's take a look. That's not right. 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 Okay. So,
I feel like the charger needs to be part of our stream prep from now on.
well, I would like another one because I need that one for upstairs.
Oh, here, do you want to grab your end?
So we have theoretically you can just charge with a USB-C. Even if it charges slowly, if it just delays, because this one is a supercharger, and so it,
Well, we found though that the lesser of the chargers in the charging world don't actually keep up with the demands of streaming. Remember we tried that?
I think it would be enough to get through the stream though. Like this one actually charges it, so this will be at a.
I have an idea though. Once we're done with the stream.
Oh, all right. I'm always down for ideas.
That would solve all of our problems.
Oh, ho ho ho.
But we can't do it right now.
Oh boy, oh boy. Oh, I'm so excited. So,
my treat is my Harmless Harvest sparkly coconut water.
ooh. Another sponsor-free sponsor. Our
This is like-
sponsors are the best because they don't know about it and don't pay us anything.
The best thing in the world. Okay, so what's happened? What needs to happen?
So, if you look at the screen, what's happening here ain't good. So, I think this is where we need to get to next. Hold on, wait, it's this I need to go to. At some point in time, and I think that this should be an early rule, we need to have nasal assimilation. We need to have the nasals assimilating in place to what follows them.
Can you remind me though, in this version, the nasals won't always assimilate. It'll sometimes be an epenthetic stop.
That epenthetic stop can happen later. In fact, must happen later.
When you say nasals assimilate, what kind of assimilation are they doing?
Place.
But I thought the point was to preserve the M before like a K, and it would become umka.
That was A.
That was A. B did not include that. In my head, B built off what was already introduced in A.
No.
And so in my head, we were still aiming for that target. I forgot that was a separate thing. Okay.
Yeah, this is one of the things that distinguished B. So we need nasals to assimilate to what follows them sometime after the uvulars become velars, but not long after. So it'd be like immediately after that.
But before the palatals are introduced, so we won't have a palatal?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe. Oh. Because then the palatals become essentially alveolars, don't they?
Palatals become alveopalatals?
Yeah. Interesting.
And also, yeah, because we end up like the h goes to sh before in certain situations, and the h goes to sh. And so we could end up having
Rule
a
16.
velar nasal, which was assimilating to a h, staying velar whilst the consonant after it becomes a sh, nsha, instead of nsha.
This is interesting because in that case, I think we might, because we're going to have a parenthesis between a nasal and a fricative.
Okay.
It would be fine because essentially what started off as, I don't know, amcha is going to, or amka is going to come out as anksha.
Okay.
As opposed to ansha. This is your sound. What do you feel?
I'm fine with both options. I just want to make sure I didn't ruin what was set up. And I'm also, okay. Uvular becomes velar, pharyngeal. All right, so here it is, the patron sanctified emphatic consonant destruction.
So it's right after Rule 16.
I feel like we should maybe wait until the labialization is lost just in case that does weird things. And then do it right before Magpie's Miracle.
You got it.
I'm going to see, are you ready for me to mess with the system and thus ruin everything that you have?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is nasal place assimilation. And this happens with a following consonant. So when a nasal precedes a consonant, it's going to match in place. And is that always?
Always.
Okay.
For the time being. Yes. Always. Always, always, always.
I am also going to need, some things are going to break. I'm going to need to create more nasals in the inventory.
Sure.
Go to place when occurs. Oh wait, place is only mentioned for consonants. Okay. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. But it should be when it occurs before. So it's giving me errors on some weird ones.
Mm-hmm.
Ones that shouldn't be getting errors. Like if a nasal follows a consonant, nothing should happen.
Yeah.
Place is the right... Wait, is it called placement? Just a second. No, place is the feature. I don't understand why this rule is breaking down.
Unfortunately, I can't see it on my screen. Oh, you got it?
Here is what I've typed.
Jake is home. Jake is home. For goodness sake, Jake is home.
Whoops. Just a second. Here is what I've typed. And the weird thing is it's giving me errors with this form that I've just typed in, atma, and other related ones, it's giving me errors telling me that there is no matrix feature for this M, but this M should be unaffected because the A doesn't have a place value. So it's, do I need to specify though consonant at place?
You might. Ha! Jake just said the same thing. Ha.
Oh my gosh, we do. And I don't understand why. I typed that in there. It fixed it. And so we should be good. What I'm trying to see is if there are any other errors.
Yeah, try what happens before H. Yeah, you might have to just put an exception except before H.
Let's see what happens between these two. Okay, so okay. Done and done. Okay, so except H. The other one that's giving problems at this stage in the language is the uvular. Do we want to introduce a uvular nasal that will then go velar when all the uvulars...
There should be no more uvulars.
There should be no more uvulars.
That's why we were doing it after Rule 16.
However... Oh, this is velar. I've got a velar right there. So shouldn't this be? It's a syllable problem right after it deromanizes. This is a syllable definition issue. Why? What are you doing over there? Deromanizer. Consonant at proto. Wait, oh my god. David. The N is not proto.
No,
of course it died. Okay. However, nasals are going to stay in the same... So stupid. Magpie's Miracle. Where were we? Here's Magpie's Miracle. The H should be an H by now. So it's going to be glottal. Do we want to leave the M, our only nasal,
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so except before H. Done.
Yay!
Oh, that was a ride.
It was a ride we were all on, man.
Okay.
Did you hear about that that Walloon who's like infamous for running sock puppets on like all these social media sites?
When you say running?
Yeah, like, you know, like he'd set up like all of these accounts to like auto post stuff on a whole bunch of social media platforms. They called him the Botter Walloon.
I love my husband. Oh my god. My brain is not ready for such fancy trickery. Yeah, golf clap indeed.
All right, let's take this for a test drive. I'm going to have a next step. Oh, how interesting. Okay, so we're having a little bit of funkiness with amhua. So we need amhua to become ankfa.
What's happening right now?
It's going nuts. It's angafa.
Can you show me the screen again? I don't want to type in any forms because I feel like that changes your screen if I do.
I'm actually just gonna do this the analog way.
Oh, it's the top. I see.
Yeah.
Hua, hua. We're getting vowel epenthesis? That's what's happening? Anga, and then double fa? Is that what, am I seeing that correctly?
Yeah,
Anga,
like
fa.
ultimately we want it to become this, ankfa. I don't know if we insert our epenthesis rule now, if it'll just somehow magically fix it.
I'm going to trace, well, wait, are you cool
Wait.
with, you trace
Wait.
changes. Let me know
Wait.
where the anga situation is happening.
Wait. I actually take that back. I take that back. That's not what we want it to become. We want it to become this. At least for the time being.
Is everything else working?
You know what? This needs some more attention. Let's do the easier stuff first. Man, they've gotten me curious about Walloon now. Their vowel phonemes are just the IPA chart. What is this? Absurd.
And Languagist, I'll say that I think when you were saying it sounds like a joke, Patrick had a typo. Trial Walloon was just a typo. It was meant to be trial balloon. Although if that was meant to be a joke, I don't know. I would have to stare at the chat longer. I just want to address that. That's how the whole Walloon thing got started. It was a joke? Well then, Patrick, sorry. Sorry, Languagist. I take back everything I said. Talk to Patrick.
That's too many things. XH? X and XH? Oh no. Oh my. Something has gone very, very, very wrong. Okay, let's do this. We need a epenthesis in between a nasal and a fricative.
Okay.
And I am going to just write them down because it might just be easiest to do it this way.
I get it, Patrick. I didn't see that comment, so I hadn't seen the run of the things. So yes, Languagist, it was indeed a joke playing on the fact that it was for Walloon. And trial balloon is something we have in English as like a saying for something you test out before actually doing it for real. for David to list all the things.
I'm actually maybe cooling on this as I'm writing these out. Oh.
My goodness, did everyone see the camera shaking? Like, our whole table just shook with the ferocity? Is that the word I'm looking for? Ferocity with which David scratched out what he was writing.
I suppose there's an open question of if this just becomes this. But
I appreciate that they put a special sound on, battery cars.
Yeah.
Electric cars. There we go. But I gotta say, I think they made the sound too loud.
Mm-hmm.
That's.
How do we end up with sh?
The h becomes sh.
Across the board?
No, if it's the first sound of a word or if it's before a high vowel. So it needs to be, in this case, it'll need to be before a high vowel. Otherwise, it won't happen because these words are pushed together. Oh, God. What happened? What happened?
We have an a in this language?
Yes.
What's happening with this crazy language?
We have front vowel lowering after Magpie's Miracle. Ed becomes a.
And I guess oo becomes o. So, like, I don't think we ever end up in a situation where we have a nasal followed by sh. How do we get ja or ja? Same way?
The r, the voiced velar.
Shows. But.
Are you doing high vowels?
Anjos. Yeah, it's not possible. We can't. We never get sh or ja after a nasal. It just doesn't happen. So our cool anksha thing is just not a possibility. Yeah, I'm not. There's nothing I can do that forces it.
Oh
to
my
happen.
God, David! It's when it's after a high vowel, not before one.
So at the beginning of a word or after a high vowel.
And
nasals aren't high vowels.
No.
Okay. So we don't have to worry about that. All right. So we do, however, have to worry about Z. Oh. Oh.
What's happening? What's happening, David?
No, we only have to worry about S. Okay. So the only nasal fricative sequences we ever have are NS, which definitely needs to become NTS, M phi, which could become MP phi, M beta, which could become MB beta. Engma ha. Engma ra. And MH. That's it. And so here's the question. I'll show everybody I've written this up there. But I'm going to hand this to you.
Can you check your text messages really quickly? And I'm going to reiterate what I'm seeing here.
Oh.
And so, yeah, I wanted you to know what's going on. we're getting nasals next to particular fricatives, but only a subset of them because some of them are conditioned so specifically that they would never occur. And when they happen, a stop at the same place is inserted. But then David is asking, is that an H or a P? MH?
MH.
Okay. So what happens when we get amha?
Well, there's two separate questions. Number one, do we want to have epenthesis with weak vowels? We don't have to. Are we fine with amfa? Or do we think there should be a epenthesis? Ansa, I think there should be. Mm-hmm. With weak fricatives, I don't know. Amfa, amva, anja, anga. We could also just say that there's natural epenthesis across the board and we don't write it. I don't know. And then if we do have epenthesis with everything, are we going to do anything with MH or just allow for amha?
Okay, I am fine with saying there's natural epenthesis without writing it, in part because
then we don't have to do anything.
Because when we would spell some of these words, I'm foreseeing a future where in the romanization we would have NGKKH as a spelling, and that's awful. And I would rather just have NGKH and say, you know what, when you say it out loud, there's a K that pops up.
I mean, before a K, we assume that would become velar, so it would be NKKH.
Okay, that's slightly better, but it's still NKKH, and I would rather just have NKH.
Okay.
Because it would basically be a way of saying this just happens. I guess if we want to be more specific in the romanization, we should include it though, huh?
I don't know. But no, I'm fine with not writing it and just avoiding the issue.
For the MH, though, I think we should make a decision because that could change the nature of the H.
Yeah. Prothesis of copy vowel. Did we intend to do that?
Yes.
In front of the sequences. Oh. Word initially or when there's 3 consonants in a row. Which is why.
Because there's a fa. There were 2 and then the fricative changed from an X to a phi later. So at this stage of the language, fa is a thing. Mm-hmm. The extra vowel gets added, making it achfa. Mm-hmm. Later we make other changes. At least I understand why this is happening.
Yeah, ditto. I don't like it. I don't know how to fix it.
We could say consonant that's minus nasal. And say they were okay with ankha, but not okay with apkha.
You could introduce a fortition rule, but that could have major ripple effects. It's wild because if you look at the sound changes, not only does it make sense why Lexergy is spitting out angapfa from amcha, but based on the logic of what we're actually doing, it also makes sense to end up with angapfa from amcha.
So leave it? And it's just a weird little quirk?
because it's khfa, not okay. All right. Let me just see what happens. Just get these in a row. Pa, kfa, akfa. Ampa, ankfa, angafa.
Actually, curious question as you're staring at this. Would this be a potential poll?
I hate to do a poll on something so minor. We should be moving on.
Okay. We also have the MH to consider.
Fine with just leaving it MH. Just wanted to be sure you were fine with it.
I'm fine with it, yeah.
Yeah. And we do need just a tiny little rule that inserts a D in between NR and a G between Engma L.
I'm gonna just add that to the end. Are you? Wait, let me know when you're done playing around.
No, it's fine.
It's good? Okay. And then I'll add that here. A G gets inserted, right?
Between Engma and L.
And R. N and R, right? Oh, a D gets inserted between N and L.
Sister languages are saying Engma R becomes Engma K in some Galician dialects. Where do you even get that? Something like Dengo, isn't it? Isn't G a G? There should be some sort of Mateus and Patrick podcast. Patrice. Oh, Matrick.
I have to change the syllable structure. Consonant. The Engma is a consonant. I don't know what's happening here. Is the G not defined? Okay. It was just a D between N and R, a G between Engma and L. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. It's done then.
Yeah. I've never seen an application of sound changes that I agree with produce a form that's more hideous or inexplicable, I say. Not hideous, inexplicable. It's like just the very notion of hua becoming angapa. It offends me.
Are you okay with apfa, hua becoming apahua, apafa?
Hold on a sec.
At the time we did this, we didn't know we were going to do...
Oh my God.
At the time we did this, we didn't know we were going to do gemination of fricatives. And so hua was a heck of a thing to have abhua. So abhua.
Abhua. Yeah, because it would be abhua. Abhua. Abhua.
It's still a mouthful if you do abhua, but it's less of a mouthful.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a geminate after a coda consonant. And so it's like at some point you think that geminate would reduce or you get vowel insertion. Abhua.
I see what you mean
or
there.
abhua.
Because it's like, if you imagine a stage where it really is, it doesn't matter if it's B or P, but if it's a stage where it's abhua, it's so awkward. Abhua.
And then later the fa becomes a fa. Like it makes sense if you trace it. I get on the surface it looks like, and we were both very confused about what was happening on the surface. But it makes sense.
I think we keep it.
I think we should too, now that we've identified the source of it. When we first saw it, I was a little bit horrified. I agree, Eleanor. I do like how Ongafa sounds.
You have somebody named Eleanor watching?
Yes. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm just going with it.
Oh my, you're right. Yeah. Oh, right, that was the Ongafa. What's going to happen first? Logan leaves on the plane or the stream ends?
I think the stream's going to end first.
Whew.
I mean, Logan just got redirected, which means there's the whole walk across the airport. Even if it's a new gate that's,
Hope it's not a long flight.
Somewhat closer. It's like you still gotta get there. Ooh, and yes, it is pronounced that way. Yay! Well, welcome, Eleanor.
Yeah, Eleanor, of course.
Eleanor Rigsby, your favorite Beatles song?
Eleanor is a name that really I wouldn't say that's close to my favorite Beatles song. It's Eleanor Rigby, but
I added an S, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. But it was one of the names that really enchanted me of the Chipettes. Jeanette, of course, was the Chipette that I was most attracted to.
Yeah, because she was the nerdy one, right?
Yeah.
With the glasses?
Yeah. What was the third one called? Brittany.
That was Alvin's counterpart.
Another good name, yeah. And then, Jeanette was Simon's counterpart, and Eleanor was Theodore's counterpart. Yeah. Good names, though. Good names.
I feel like it was capturing a time with those names, specifically the Jeanette and Brittany.
They were all
French.
French.
Like I've seen as many Jeanettes and Brittany's since that era.
Right? Because Brittany is from Breton.
Yeah. Right? And then, of course, Jeanette. Yeah. Jake David's ready with his answer and, in fact, volunteering his answer.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we leave that. I need to write that down, that I remember that I actually said it.
Your mark. Today, Thursday, April 10th, David said Angfa becoming Angafa is okay.
There we go. I've put little thingies around it. What I've written is Angafa is apparently fine. Goodness. Imagine if that ends up becoming a case.
It won't. We have ways to make sure that doesn't happen.
Speaking of things that I won't say, I absolutely would never say that I disapprove, but the furries, it gives me the opposite of attraction. They're really like cartoony looking in a weird way. But I, of course, would never say that I disapprove. If you enjoy it, then that's a good thing. Okay. I wanted to see if there was any other low-hanging fruit that we could just, because I think we got it all. Just approximate gemination. L becomes L before L, R becomes, or I'm sorry, L becomes R before R becomes L before L.
Okay.
I don't know if this is actually going to hit anything or not.
Oh shit! I started messing with it.
It's all right. It's all right. I don't know if we're actually going to get the geminate R, which is frankly for the best. I don't want it to get W. So I don't want the W's to be changing. It's just L to R before R to L before L. That's it.
Got it.
Thank you, Jake.
It's not working. We seem to have a case of when does it become a flap versus an R?
I think that's very late, isn't it?
There we go. Okay, so I fixed the problem, but like...
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've got the R becoming L. However, the L becomes a W when it's before a consonant.
That's fine.
So aura is aura, with a W. So we should theoretically never have an L before an R.
Bam. Perfect. All right. I think that we're done then.
Did I say a cuss? What did I say? Let's repeat it and draw attention to it. I don't even know what I said.
I think you said gold earn it.
Did I?
No.
Gold nugget?
But yeah, I think that we're done with this, with implementing this. There's Angla, perfect. There's Andra, perfect. Oh,
thank you, Patrick. Yeah, that one pops out a lot.
Yes, Eleanor, there is a LangTime Discord. It's for patrons, for people that are on the Patreon. But I mean, just do the $2 one, and they're also like adding in all of these things where via some mechanism that we don't seem to have control over, but some algorithm does, like you can game it and get it for like a huge discount or free sometimes. I don't know. It was a weird thing, but I was like, listen, as long as you're not randomly increasing the price for people, I say go for it.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Just imagining it. That would be the way to kill the platform. If Patreon just across the board said, we've introduced surge pricing, you have no control over it. And it's like it finds the time where people are most likely to join, and it's like, you can join.
For $1 million.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, David. So we've got this settled-ish then.
Yeah, that's settled. So
what kind of poll do you think we should be thinking about?
So this was all to get us our verbs. Shoot, which one of these was the final? It was the middle one, right?
Which one was? I'm sorry, what?
I'm going to put this on the screen. The middle one was the final, right, everybody? God, I hope so.
We were going for yellow. There are three different things. First singular, first plural, second singular, second plural, and third singular, third plural. And I thought yellow was what we were aiming for.
Yes. Yeah. Yellow. So I should. Yellow is the winner. Okay. This feels a bit like Memento. We just write stuff down, and then like we show up, and it's like, what does this mean? All right, let's do it. Let's put this
the noise, that kind of thunder noise.
People next door. Where are our boo and nope. And then is that right? No, it was two.
I should probably be in the document. Well, I'm in the document. I should be looking at the document.
Oh, and this essentially just becomes that, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is what happens now. Oh, sorry, wrong thing. We don't need the document anymore. So this is what happens now.
Oh, you weren't typing in the document.
No.
I was like trying so hard to figure out where you're typing. I'm like, his page is messing up. Like, what's happening? I hear typing. Yeah. Okay, thank goodness. Okay. So we're looking at this. Bog boo becomes bobo. And then we get boat. Is that boto? Double T?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And then and okay, and then let me I'm just gonna finish this out here because this one is that, and this is essentially that. I think that's but then it's let's just do that, whatever. So whatever happened, our gva is now becoming a ba across the board. And it wasn't before.
It's because of this poll.
Really? Because before it was like bogfa.
Right. But now...
What happens? Oh, wait. There it is. There it is. Oh, my God. Yeah, because this is the first person, right? There's that. And then essentially parenthesis, which so... So, what the hell? Tracing all the changes. Q to P Celtic style. So why didn't that... But that was like a super old sound change. Why wasn't that happening before?
I think because it wasn't occurring in a particular environment. And maybe we just didn't check it. We had just pushed it together.
Hold on, let me...
It only occurs before a vowel.
It only occurs...
Or an R.
Before a vowel.
And so...
Or an R?
Yeah, or an R.
Do we have a... Do we have a hyphen rule here? Like where it applies... Shoot. Did we talk about this before? About like where the glomination happens?
Yes, right now it's written in there after the Q to P Celtic style rule, and that is movable. It's just there because we were going to be potentially typing things in with word spaces to keep certain changes from happening, but not others.
Oh, I see.
We can change that. We can take it out and say there is no glomination rule. We can put a space between things you want to have spaces between and see how they get changed. And we can move that. So there's like a lot of things we can do.
What happens if we do this? Interesting. Okay. Okay. All right.
But yeah, where it is right now was solely based on, at the time, we needed to separate out certain changes to see where they were going. So I made that rule in there so we could put a space between like compounds and units coming together.
Yeah.
We could get rid of it. We could keep it, but actually like do something with it.
This is the poll. This is the poll. Basically, I think like if we're looking at this as like a question, I think this pen is finally out of ink. How identifiable do we want the root to be? And I think that in order to prepare for this poll, what I need to do is just take a bunch of nonce forms, now that we've got all these sound changes put in there, and essentially see what happens if you just write them all in a row or you separate them. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. That's
going to be what we do. And then next week we can expand and look at more verb inflection.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, well, thank you all for being here. This has been a fruitful day. I feel like we've gotten a lot done.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and send that text to the airline that they can let Logan's plane go now.
Excellent, right. Excellent. We've held Logan long enough.
Right on.
Yeah, cool. Well, we will see you all next week, April 17th.
Yep. Yeah, right? Yeah, April 17th. Mm-hmm. Oh, what a day. All right. Bye, everybody.
All right, bye. Stay grammar.